remember the soybean farmer situation, how this economy and these tariffs and these taxes on people's prices of goods and businesses are getting destroyed. All that's still happening. And now the price of beef is the latest discussion. It's reached even the cattle farmers. Here's Brooke Rollins, the ag secretary, who also kisses Donald Trump's ass, trying to come up with excuses for that.
The proposal that the president has been talking about to bring in some 80,000 metric tons of beef from Argentina to try to get prices down. There's obviously a shrunken cattle supply here, which is the reason why prices here are going up. But a lot of these ranchers are feeling betrayed. Destiny Weeks, an Oklahoma rancher, said this: "It feels like a slap in the face to rural America. It makes you feel invisible and overlooked." And Justin Tappers, the president of the U.S. Cattlemen's Association, said a deal of this magnitude with Argentina would undercut the very foundation of our cattle industry. What do you say to cattle producers in this country?
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration on both sides. This president has made it very clear that his promise to bring the cost of living, cost of goods down, beef continues to go up. But then you marry that with you said it, John, we've got the lowest herd in 75 years. And there's a lot of reasons for that: drought, the screw-worm at the border, we've had to close the ports, etc. We consume 12 million metric tons of beef every single year in America. 2 million of that 12 million we have long imported. So the idea of importing a little bit more Argentinian beef from about 20,000 metric tons to 40,000 or maybe 60,000 out of the total 12 million will not do anything to compromise our ability to rebuild that cattle herd. For anyone to say, and again, knowing the frustration that's there, but there has been no one who has been more resolute, who has been more passionate about supporting rural America, about supporting our farmers and our ranchers than Donald Trump. And we see that over and over and over again.
Just some of the confusion I think that was caused with all of that was the president suggesting that the ranchers bring their prices down, and the ranchers said, this is the market sets the price of the beef. They don't control the price.
Brooke Rollins, they're talking about how there's frustration on both sides when asked about how these ranchers now feel like they're being betrayed by Donald Trump. Is only her defending Donald Trump in saying, well, he's frustrated by you guys too. There's new enemies being formed from this fascist administration. It's weird. The people who always supported them, who are now getting screwed and go, wait a second. Suddenly they're like, well, you guys are the problem now. The number one thing in a fascist organization and government like this, for all the minions that surround him, like Brooke Rollins, is to protect him. Like I said, the number one loyalty factor here is to Donald Trump, not to this country, not to the people, not to the constituents, not to the agencies that you run. It's to Donald Trump. So once those people that voted for this guy are upset and go, I voted for like division, racism, and bigotry. I didn't vote for me to be broke. What's wrong with you?
You're selling us out. That is the message from some U.S. cattle ranchers who are furious with President Trump right now over his new plan to import more beef from Argentina. The president says he's doing it, he wants to do it, to ease record high beef prices for Americans.
I put tariffs on things coming in to the country, including beef. And that gave them a chance to finally have a decent industry. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them.
Trump also adding that he loves America's cattle ranchers, but also says they, quote, don't understand tariffs. Now, some of those cattle farmers who overwhelmingly did support the president in last year's election are making clear that they do not agree with his plan.
Consumers will tell us when the beef is too high. I think it's outlandish for the president to come out and say the beef is too high and he's going to get it down himself. What is his problem with higher priced beef? Because consumers have a choice in proteins. There's chicken, there's pork, there's all different proteins. Consumers have chose to buy beef. President Trump ran on being a free market guy. So what he was saying last week goes totally against what he ran on.
It's just those ranchers don't understand tariffs like Donald Trump does. It always goes back to him. Have we not noticed that yet? No matter who it is, it all goes back to him. Remember that whole line that Brooke Rollins said at the beginning where she said, Donald Trump is frustrated too with you guys? It wasn't a mistake. She said it again on Fox Business to make sure that those voters of his heard it loud and clear.
as the president mentioned, and he has said over and over and over again, he loves our farmers and our ranchers. He innately understands how important they are, not just to feeding and fueling our country and frankly the world, but also to the very fabric of this nation, the sort of that frontier, independent, hardworking spirit that they have. That is the best of America. That is from 250 years ago, and they represent that better than probably anybody else in the world. So ensuring that he can support the farmers and ranchers, certainly in the beef cattle industries that we're talking about now, and the consumer, these are not mutually exclusive goals. They can work together, but there is frustration on both sides. And I was with the president yesterday, and he is very, very frustrated because everything he's done to cut taxes, to bring down costs. And you think about the last administration, they were working to get cattle off the lands.
And it all goes back to saying he's frustrated with you. But don't forget, Biden. Are you that stupid? Are you that dumb? He just said it's your fault. And I'm free and clear. I love the ranchers, except for the fact that they keep doing this to me, trying to make me look bad. What's the matter with you guys? It was Biden's fault. Well, and it's your fault. And it's someone else's fault. It's never his fault. Have you heard him ever say that it's his fault? All these ranchers are upset, these cattle ranchers. Here's a post from the National Cattlemen's Beef Association back on July 4th of this year. That was around the time they were passing that bill that's screwing so many people. This is what they put up. The one big, beautiful bill has been signed into law with exclamation points. Thank you, Mr. President, for being a true friend to the America's cattlemen and cattle women. Is he still a friend to the America's cattlemen and cattle women? You posted about it. The big, beautiful bill that's fucking over so many people is not so much of a win for you guys anymore. I mean, that hasn't even really kicked into kicking your ass around. This is just his tariff policies that's destroying your life. And also his commitment to paying $40 million to Argentina, and then more commitments to taking tons of beef from Argentina, and then screwing you over and saying that those prices are your fault. That is, while he gets on Air Force One and tells reporters, I'm getting the price of beef down. But as usual, with all of these plans and with his agenda and with his destructive economy, it's not just those cattle farmers that are dealing with what it is that he's done to them. Here's another kind of farmer who's like, this guy's screwing us over.
I feel bad for the beef industry, because the beef industry, they buy about 6 billion bushels of corn from us every year. And that's worth $25 billion of economic activity that goes back to grain farmers like me. And those poor cow-calf producers are finally getting ahead after being in debt too. And Stephanie, the American people need to realize that only 16 cents of every dollar goes back to me, the farmer, and the rancher. And it's the packers who are making the money right now. And when I feel so bad for our seniors sitting at home saying, why are these farmers asking for a bailout? We're not asking for a bailout. Donald Trump did this to us. And unfortunately, we are hurting right now. We are the collateral damage to what's going on. And he had 8 years to plan this. Why did he put us in the crosshairs of this collateral damage?
He's pointing out how they're all screwed and you're losing money. We're the collateral damage to this guy. I'm waiting for the tweet from the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, maybe also the farming, the Grain Farmers Association, the soybean farmers. The soybean farmers are coming out hardcore against him. But nothing about how he's screwing us over, and there needs to be a national conversation about removing this guy. He's destroying us.